bad for a librarian. Perhaps you should have spent more time in the pit.
And perhaps you should have spent more time in the library.
Bra weep grana weep nenny on YouTube, and happy belated New Year. I mean, this video was meant to come out back in January, but footage got corrupted, and you know, corrupted footage is a great motivator for getting videos out on time, or in a timely manner. Needless to say, I've been meaning to get this one out for a while. About 2 months ago, actually, now that I think about it. Anyways, I'm here with my second ever Transformers review. And as promised, today we're taking a look at the Transformers Legacy A Hero Is Born bundle, which is a nice little exclusive that I managed to get from TF Source. Hey, just real quick, this is kind of future-ish Red, White, and Blue Streak here. Just wanted to say, I noticed that in the 3 months since I last uploaded a Transformers review, at the time of recording this anyways, I've gone up 12 subscribers. Sorry, no, that's wrong. Actually, I've gone up a total of 16 subscribers, which is even better. There were a great amount of views and a good amount of comments on the last video, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot that the video even reached 1 or 2 people, so to see people are actually watching that stuff as well as the shorts that I've put out, it means a lot. So thank you for that. And back to the review. Sorry, just really needed to say that. Now, this set contains a couple of remolds/retools of Studio Series 86 figures that have been released in the past in order to recreate some characters that were shown in the episode War Dawn, as well as later on in Transformers in the case of Alpha Trion. And this set is pretty pricey, with it being set at $120 at the time of me recording this, as well as the time of me buying it. Now, with the exclusivity of this set and the more than premium price tag, is it really worth it? Well, yes and no, but we'll get into that. Starting with the packaging, this set falls really well in line with the standard Transformers Legacy packaging aesthetic, with all the bright colors on the box and whatnot, while recreating a scene that we actually didn't see in the G1 episode War Dawn. Now, for those who don't know about the episode War Dawn, or really anything with the Transformers G1 series, I'm gonna have a little mini history segment in these reviews that I'm gonna probably call Transformers 101 with Red, White, and Blue Streak. So alright everybody, sit down, class is in session. Quick little history lesson with Transformers G1. War Dawn was the name of episode 43 of season 2 of the original Transformers 1980s series. The episode followed the aerial bots on a trip to the past after falling into a Decepticon trap where they get to see the origins of the feud between Optimus Prime and Megatron. At least in this universe, but we're not talking about those other continuities yet. Here on the peaceful planet Cybertron, they meet the humble, naive dock worker Orion Pax, his rather observant girlfriend Ariel, and his daring best friend Dion. Shortly after this, Megatron and a band of Decepticons are seen flying by, known simply as New Flying Robots by the general public at the time. Bear in mind, the war was in its early stages at this point, so not many people really knew who was good and who was bad, or what side to really fall on. Silverbolt cautions Orion and his friends against openly and blindly welcoming Megatron and his cronies, with Ariel giving an ominous warning via stories she's heard about them. But Orion and Dion disregard the warnings when they meet the new flying robots. After a brief tour of his workspace, as requested by Megatron, and revealing that they store Energon exclusively, Megatron orders the destruction of the workers and the forceful acquisition of the Energon stored there. In the process, Ariel, Orion, and Dion are disposed of. In that order, actually. Quick fun fact, actually, the artwork of Orion on the side of the box actually accurately depicts where he was shot in the episode. Pretty nice touch. Following this, the aerial bots discover the carnage left behind and urgently try to get Orion medical attention, while leaving the other two to rust, I guess. They come upon the workshop of a young Alpha Trion who, after some convincing, cautiously and reluctantly offers to rebuild Orion entirely to save him and allow him to fight back against the Decepticons, resulting in the birth of Optimus Prime and later the births of Elita 1 and Ironhide, being the reconstructed versions of Ariel and Dion respectively. This episode of Generation 1 was actually one of like 3 episodes that I had on VHS as a kid, so I watched it a lot. It's pretty near and dear to me, so seeing any sort of homage to that episode outside of the aerial bots, or even just having another set of the aerial bots, is just, it means a lot to me. And also, if you actually want to watch this episode in its entirety, it's actually up on the official Transformers Hasbro YouTube page, at least at the time of recording this. With that out of the way, we'll move on to the actual contents of the box. Inside, you get Orion Pax, Alpha Trion, Vector Sigma, the key to Vector Sigma, and a transparent stand for Vector Sigma. Some assembly required. Starting with the figures before going on to that, Orion Pax and Alpha Trion are fantastically sculpted and painted remolds of the Studio Series 86 figures of Cup and Scourge respectively. Actually, an interesting detail about the Orion Pax figure in particular is that this isn't the first time that he's been a remold of Cup. In fact, the G1 toy as a part of an eHobby exclusive set was a repaint of the G1 toy of Cup, and the Evolution 2-pack of Orion and War for Cybertron Optimus Prime has also had Orion Pax be a remold of the Titan's Return figure for Cup. So, pretty funny. I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or if the toy designers actually intended for that to be the case with this, as like a fun little nod to that figure. Funny and coincidental figure history aside, the figures themselves are really great and make all the necessary changes for a remold. I will say with Alpha Trion, I kind of wish that they would have used a face that was closer to his depiction in War Dawn, that being just the mustache instead of the mustache-beard combo, but I mean, you know, beggars can't be choosers. It's very accurate to how he appears in Vector Sigma, but we'll talk about Vector Sigma later. Trust me, I've got some words for that. For now, let's talk about the articulation. The posability of these figures is as great as their original mold counterparts, which is to say, pretty good by mainline standards. I do kind of wish that the limbs weren't detachable somehow for Orion, but it does add a bit of comedic effect to the set considering how Alpha Trion talked about rebuilding Orion completely. And also because with my rhythm game brain, it kind of reminds me of, Right, I guess with all the details of robot mode out of the way, we should probably move on to transformations because I can't really think of a proper segue, so yeah, onto that. If you've seen the Studio Series 86 transformations of Cup and Scourge, you're already going to be familiar with these transformations. Though I will point out that the part with the arm shifting back for Orion is easier to do on this figure than it is on Cup, but somehow, the part where the fender forms by the leg panel shifting up to connect with the front is somehow even more frustrating than it is on the original figure. That is to say, very frustrating. With Alpha Trion, the only part of the transformation that's slightly annoying is taking out the secondary panels from the chest to cover the face. On the Scourge mold, that piece will come out with no problem. I'm still not quite sure what either of these vehicle modes are supposed to be exactly, but I do like the differences between these versions and the original molds, mainly with Alpha Trion having something of a cockpit in this sort of space skiff mode. Orion's vehicle mode rolls just fine and looks great from just about any angle. The Cup vehicle mode has never looked better than this mold, which is an absolute joy to look at, no matter what character it is. And Alpha Trion's alt mode doesn't roll or anything, and I'm a little too scared of the paint chipping to try sliding it, to be honest. I've already had a little bit of paint chipping on the chest. Alright, with that out of the way, I think we can go into what I've been kind of trying to put off. Accessories. Orion and Alpha Trion both come with the same accessories as their original mold counterparts, minus a blast effect for Alpha Trion to use. The gun and Energon goodie pack look nice, though I kind of wish these guys didn't come with the guns as accessories. Neither of them were fighters, so it doesn't quite make sense for them to have them. Energon cubes would have been a nice substitute though, since Orion Pax was a dock worker that mainly worked with Energon. On that note, the Energon goodie pack makes a bit of sense, as Orion probably would take a break for a quick snack or whatever they use him for. Then there's this, Vector Sigma. So, alright, I kind of get why this was included, as it can relate to Alpha Trion's character, and he definitely looks nice holding the key to Vector Sigma, even though it's not the most secure connection. And, you know, this version of Alpha Trion does appear within Vector Sigma, so it makes even more sense there. Okay, I get that. What I don't get is how the inclusion of this hikes up the price of the set so high. So hear me out, alright? You can get Studio Series 86 Cup and Studio Series 86 Sweep at most retail places nowadays. Okay, maybe even less so, but at the time of writing the script, which was back in like December or January, you could easily readily find them. Nowadays, you can pretty much only really find Cup, but the point still kind of stands. You could find the Sweep for about $35 and Cup for about $25 usually, which would bring the combined price of the set to about $60 before tax. Okay, maybe with the whole homage to old characters, you could hike the price of the set up maybe a good $10, $15, so okay, $70, $75, no big deal. But either way, you're essentially telling me that this hollow plastic ball and this transparent little stand that it stands on are worth $44 to $49? I don't get it. I mean, Vector Sigma isn't even to scale unless you use your Legends figures, but even then you gotta use some sort of little camera tricks in order to get it to look in scale. And don't get me wrong, the figures are fantastic. I love the remolds that they've done here, and the figures still hold up really good, the mold still holds up good rather, and you know, the figures are fantastic. I'm not complaining about those at all, even though I've switched mainly to collecting Legend scale figures. But paying an extra $50 for this kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth, which is honestly a big reason why I ended up parting with this set. In the script it says that I was thinking about parting with it, but I ended up parting with it. It's been like 3 months, I got rid of it, sold it on eBay, whatever. Look, if you can find that set for like $80, go for it. It's a fantastic set, the figures are fantastic, and the accessories are fantastic. Vector Sigma is a nice addition. It's just that price hike with just a little plastic ball, little hollow plastic ball, just leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. And for that, I can't really recommend these figures at that retail price, because it's just not worth it. Considering what you could get from Hasbro, Takara, or even third-party companies for the price of $120, it's just doesn't really sit well with me. But if you do really want these characters, if you do really want this set, and you're concerned about whether or not the figures are good, and you don't really care about how much the accessories hike up the price, by all means, it's a good set. Go for it. Thanks for watching my second figure review. I know this one kind of ended more on a negative note, but for one, it's just my opinion. And for another, I do tend to be a lot more positive with the things I review. If you want to stick around and see what I'm reviewing next, by all means, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and definitely be sure to comment and tell me what you think of the review or think I should improve on. Believe me, all the input helps me dramatically. And hopefully next time I can come out with this review in a lot more timely of a manner, but until then,